Right, hello guys, thank you for joining me today. Once again, I don't want this video to go on for too long, though it's very, I would say, negative. It's a negative subject today. So if you don't feel that way inclined, then, you know, feel free to leave. But this video is about Ubisoft, and how they've changed so much. And it's actually true what people are saying, that they are the new Electronic Arts. I didn't subscribe to that method of thinking until recently, until the release of Far Cry 4 and especially Assassin's Creed Unity, and I'll go into that a little later on. But I want to first talk about how I viewed Ubisoft in the 1990s and how I view them today. Well, I'll tell you now, I refuse to buy any Ubisoft-made game, published game, developed game ever again, because they are greedy, and that's it. Now, originally I was a huge fan of Ubisoft games. Ubisoft was a very unique and typically French company. In fact, I would almost say that the... oh, by the way, Assassin's Creed Unity is not available here in the UK. The UK is the only country, and Far Cry 4, I believe, is the only country where those games are not available on Steam, which kind of takes the rivalry between England and France to a new level, a rivalry that's been going on for well over 1,000 years. But I used to really like Ubisoft. They were a French company, and, you know, being French, they had their own peculiar, I don't mean that in a bad sense, but their own particular ways of doing things, their own artistic style, their own storytelling style, because I was a huge fan, I still am, a huge fan of French comics, especially those of Benoit Socal and other comics, you know, like The Adventures of Tintin and Asterix. And yeah, those were particular styles that only the French could get away with doing, and it was transferred over to their games as well. You know, really quirky, iconic legends like Rayman, their best being, no pun intended, Rayman Legends. That, to me, was the very, very best Rayman ever. Almost as good as the original, but I think the great thing about Rayman and its creator, Michel Ancel, was that he was able to adapt and to evolve and to change Rayman in a positive way with the implementation or the introduction of newer technologies. So, you know, from the PlayStation 1 all the way through to the PlayStation 2, the Dreamcast. Can't forget the Dreamcast. Sorry. The Dreamcast, the PS2, GameCube, all the way up through to the PS3, Xbox 360, and so on. And Rayman Legend is, as I said, one of the best games, one of the most fun games I have played in a very, very long time. And that, it wasn't very long ago either, but you know, that was typical of Ubisoft. Ubisoft centered on artistic designs, artistic merit, really innovative, unique gaming experiences. However, they might not necessarily have sold well commercially, and that's the problem here. Because even though Ubisoft were really, really insightful and artistic and creative, and in fact I really liked Ubisoft because they really nurtured the artists who were involved as well. Some of the guys you would not otherwise have heard of, or who would not otherwise have been afforded the opportunity to make their work known. You know, guys like Michel Ancel, and they were made stars, and, well, not really stars, but they were given the chance to really show off what they were capable of doing. And that's all gone now, because the motivation, the incentive for Ubisoft now is to make as much money as possible. The problem was that with the previous way that they did things, you know, promoting really quirky designs, like Rayman in itself, even though that was commercially successful, but games like Beyond Good and Evil, which is one of my favourite games of all time, didn't sell very well commercially, even though that game was amazing. And that was the problem. And it's understandable that Ubisoft would say, look, you know, in order for us to continue to survive, we actually need to try and make some money. And we're not making money by making these quirky games, these quirky yet innovative games. And so what we have to do is to release garbage, which are guaranteed to sell well, to be accepted by the mainstream, to guarantee our survival. But that to me is like selling your soul to the devil, because you are undermining the whole point, the reason for your very existence in the first place, to sell copies to make money so that you can buy your next Bugatti Veyron. It's really it's a sad state of affairs, and as much as I am disappointed with Ubisoft, I can't really be as disappointed with them as I was with EA, because EA had no such, as far as I was aware, they had no such motivations to start with. They were always a mega, I can't remember his name, the guy who set up 3DO, I'm not sure if he was involved, but EA was always, it was the type of company that was set up by guys who went to Harvard University. You know, it's that type of company, and their motivation was always to make millions and millions of dollars, whereas with Ubisoft, for me at least, obviously a company has to make money, but originally they were there to try and create games that gamers would want to play, but unfortunately they didn't sell very well due to whatever reason. So I won't be boycotting. I will be boycotting. I'm going to be boycotting Ubisoft games. I'm just going to show you on here the fact that Assassin's Creed Unity is not available here on Steam. Okay, oh look, oops, sorry. An error was encountered while processing your request. This item is currently unavailable in your region. Oh, really? Oh, thanks very much, Ubisoft. That to me was the final straw. I was actually going to buy the game, believe it or not, but until I found out way before the game was released that they were intending to release these add-ons for a ridiculous amount of money, and the price of the game itself on Steam was a premium price. We're talking about £60, which is about, I don't know, $80 US, maybe even more, maybe less, on Steam for the the gold version being the definitive version. So they were giving the impression that if you bought the original copy, you were not buying the definitive version, you were missing out on so many goodies. So of course you're going to feel inclined to buy the gold version to get everything that they should have sold in the original game anyway. Well, it seems that even if you paid for the gold version or even a collector's edition version, you still didn't get the full game because it was buggy as hell. So yeah, so there's the proof. I can't access this game on Steam thanks to Ubisoft's greed, and I won't be buying any more Ubisoft games, unfortunately. And that also extends to Beyond Good and Evil. As much as I love that game series, and as much as I know it will be a very, very good game, because Michel Ancel is still working on it, I will not be buying it. I just can't support a company like that. And basically, if you don't know what happened with Assassin's Creed Unity, the release of that game, and Far Cry 4, there was firstly a press embargo. So basically, reviewers of the game were not allowed to publish their review at least 12 hours after the release of the game. So basically, people didn't know how good or bad the game was until 12 hours after the release. And those who did buy it, unfortunately, realised that it was buggy as hell. And there are a number of videos out there on YouTube detailing the amount of bugs in Assassin's Creed Unity. I'll provide those in the description bar. And lastly, firstly the press embargo, secondly the number of bugs, and thirdly the amount that they were charging for the add-ons. As I said before, the impression was that you had to pay for the gold version to get the definitive version. Now, to me, if someone said the definitive version, I would assume that that would be incorporated within the main game, within the actual cost of the main game. However, that was not the case. They were charging a ridiculous amount of money. So, yeah, I'm not buying any Ubisoft game anymore, I'm afraid. And I can't see it changing. I can't see Ubisoft changing their rationale or changing their focus. I'm afraid they've already sealed their fate. They've made a pact with the devil, as far as I'm concerned, and there's no chance that they're going to back out. There's no way that I can see them coming back from this. They've already gone down that road, and so I refuse to support that. Luckily, Michel Ancel, the guy who created Rayman, he has set up his own company, and I look forward to buying that, as long as it has no association with Ubisoft. Okay guys, so thank you very much for watching or listening to my ramblings, and yeah, until next time, I'll see you later. Goodbye.